situation. So we're all focusing on
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
It's an interesting sort of little case.
Yeah, absolutely.
The school's really gone up for this sort of discussion about values, but is the school up for exploring the contradictions in those values? It seems a bit strange, like they want all the answers, oh, it's good, we've got the right answers, say we're all up for excellence, blah, blah, let's tick the boxes, and then we'll all move on. Whereas in fact it's rather a good opportunity to stand back and reflect and take stock about how achievable really it is actually to reconcile some of the values I assume that everybody's identifying. I wonder whether there's some mileage for you saying, what can a group of us get together and have a little, working group or something, and collaborate and reflect together and report back to the staff and, begin to make it into a process of, change and dialogue amongst the staff rather than what it sounds like. And I know this sort of asking you a rather static sort of process.
I think it all it kind of goes back to the fact that our school is a school of ambition. I don't know if you are aware of that programme in Scottish education. About 4 years ago, head teachers were asked to put forward a portfolio saying if they got School of Ambition status, which gave them an extra £300,000 to spend over 3 years, whether or how they would use that, and it had to be sustainable and it had to be transformational, because once the money ran out you had to keep it going. So I wasn't at the school I'm at that point, and the head teacher had put in for it and hadn't got into the first tranche of it but got into the second tranche of it, and by the time she'd get into the second tranche of it I had joined the school, and she decided that the best way to make it sustainable and transformational was to put the money into the people rather than into the fabric of the building. So some schools, for example, there's a school in Dundee, and they chose to use a lot of the money to build an auditorium, because dance and drama through Dundee Rep in Dundee is a really big thing. So for that school, it made sense for them to put the money into the building. Whereas I'm a teacher up in Lossiemouth, which is in the northeast, and it's a dying fishing village basically, and she decided she needed to create a can-do culture, because too much of it was the children being brought up where they just went onto the boats. Education hasn't ever really been seen as particularly important. They went onto the boats at the age of 16, but there's no fishing anymore, so there's no boats for the boys to get a berth on. So, but their mentality is still very much fishing mentality. So it was to sort of try and create that can-do culture, and I think that because we had the money from School of Ambition, we could move things along faster because we had this extra cash that could be spent. But we're getting to the end of it, and you're right, it has to be seen as how can you take this further. And I think that it appears quite static right now, and I'd say you're right with that, because it's taken the head teacher a long time to pull people on board with it, because the school had reached a sort of stage where it had been inspected by Her Majesty's Inspectorate and hadn't done very well, and half the management team were off with stress and depression, and the school was kind of going down the tubes in an area where socio-economically there was no jobs about, in the traditional sense of going out on a boat, and it was a hard thing to walk into, and I think that she's had an awful lot of opposition, and it's just now that we're reaching the stage where people are becoming less opposed to it. So it's just now that we can actually, we've got this in place, but it's now where to go with it.
But where to go with it? Yeah, isn't it Jane's view of sustainability? Where I think you said right at the beginning that if you were to take some of these ideas back into the school, it could be that is one of the ways in which sustainability, because I think your point was really very powerful, because I don't think you just were angry, which is what I think you said, right? I think you've got a very creative response, which is actually grounded in the values that you were outlining. And if we have your narrative of how you're sustaining that passion and that commitment with the message that Jane's got, I think that would be a really important message to take back to the head of the school.
I think what I hear from you is the destructive power is the wrong kind of accountability.
Yes.
You know, I'm saying to you the kind of accountability that I feel I'm working with now is transformational, it's exciting, it's generating all sorts of things for me personally, and it's influencing others, which is not the accountability that I was involved in before, which actually was very inward-looking. Can I just say thank you? I mean, here I am as chairman now, so can I just say thank you? I've learned so much from you this morning, and I've enjoyed it, and it's been a luxury to actually have more than half an hour. And I've got to go and catch a flight now, so I'm sorry I have to do this to kind of brush off.
May I just ask, because of the video, which has been totally on Jane, but some of your voices are going to be in it, is that okay or not? First, okay, yes, thank you.